good?
Yes.
Levanten sus manos y pueden entenderme. Okay. Well, for those of you who raised your hand, which is none, were you able to understand my Spanish because you took a foreign language course or a set of foreign language courses in high school? Okay, look, honestly, I'm pretty sure some of you understood that, right? I mean, my Spanish isn't like that much.
Oh.
But, okay, maybe, well, if you do understand my Spanish, you'll be able to relate to what I was talking about. But if you don't, you can also, you might also have an interest in what I will be talking about, for I will be demonstrating the value of taking foreign language classes. Of course, if you didn't understand my Spanish, that doesn't mean that you lack experience in learning a second language. High schools and colleges often offer a variety of different languages from which to choose. My own high school offered students a choice of Spanish, French, Japanese, or Latin. Between Cal State Fullerton and Fullerton College, we are offered courses in Mandarin Chinese, Japanese, Korean, German, Italian, Arabic, Persian, Portuguese, Vietnamese, and Spanish. On the market, there is a popular software program called Rosetta Stone, which offers 31 different languages from which to choose to learn. Evidently, there is quite a demand and availability to gaining access to knowledge and communicating in one of what the Summer Institute of Linguistics estimates to be over 7,000 languages in the world. Obviously, there are a multitude of ways in which human beings express themselves linguistically, of which American English is just one. You may have already learned or expressed interest in learning a second language due to natural curiosity or desire to broaden one's horizons. But if you're still not interested, of course, I will cite evidence and offer my own personal insights and expert testimony into the value of taking a course or program in the study of a foreign language. I'll start with the obvious fact that there are thousands of linguistic systems by which people express themselves, a variety of which developed due to the tens of thousands of years of isolated development of different ethnic groups. In California, we have a diverse range of peoples from different ethnic groups all combining together and trying to live together in a single society. In a modern life equivalent of the Tower of Babel, California's peoples can speak among them over 200 different languages, in addition to the 100 dialects indigenous to the region. Of our population of almost 40 million people, only 60% of residents aged 5 and up speak English at home. 25% speak Spanish, followed by 2% Chinese, 2% Tagalog, and 1.3% Vietnamese. Some of us may have never encountered a situation where knowing one of these major languages was useful, but I'm willing to bet that a majority of us have had situations where getting a job done or otherwise relating to someone was impeded by the barrier of language. For those of you where English is actually your second language, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Encountering situations throughout your daily life where you or a less fluent family member struggle due to not being able to communicate effectively with the majority language. If you saw the 2006 movie Babel or the 2004 movie Crash, you might have seen what the lack of effective communication between peoples can do. Of course, I'm not here to debate the legality of official languages and the legal necessity of learning languages, but that in both directions, an English speaker learning a foreign language or vice versa, second language acquisition is a skill with definite practical value. If any of you have travel or political plans outside of California, learning another language is definitely useful. English is currently the dominant language in world affairs, with students in several different countries having to learn English mandatorily as early as elementary school. And it is also, according to anthropologist and scholar Peter Watson, to be the essential language of the Internet. The range of English influence on the world is due historically to the spread of the British Empire in the 19th century, where colonialism allowed the British Empire to become the largest territorial empire in the history of the world. But English is not the most spoken language in the world. Mandarin Chinese is with native speakers rising over 1 billion in number. English native speakers number only half of that, with Spanish, Hindu, and Malay Indonesian ranking close behind. If one has desires to explore the world outside the U.S., you must realize that some countries, due to economic dependence, owe their lives to the learning of English. Since the U.S. is a huge importer of foreign goods and resources, our own communication with peoples of different backgrounds is crucial to the functioning of our daily lives, historically and in light of the new globalized world. International organizations like the UN also require multilingualism. Not only do the facts I believe, provide considerable evidence for the necessity of acquaintance with more than one language, I have my own personal testimony and insights with regards to second language. First was the use of my apparently terrible Spanish. When in high school, I encountered at the back of the school some Latino guys who wanted directions to Cal State Fullerton. And, well, I tried telling them the directions in English, but to no avail. Then I tried out my Spanish, and, with a little bit of struggle, I was able to get them to where they wanted to. So that's good. My other experience would have to be when I went to China this last summer, in Beijing, when I know a little bit of Mandarin Chinese because of a course I actually took here last year, but not nearly enough to survive in the wilderness that is Beijing, China. And so, I was with my friend wandering around the street on the other side of the world at nighttime, and here I am, an American in China. Okay, if you know anything about modern mainland China right now, I was a little worried due to the political situation there, but nonetheless, I felt pretty endangered. I encountered some gang members on the in the underground subway system, and it was pretty scary. If anybody approached me or otherwise asked for anything that was an invasion of my personal space, I wouldn't be able really to say much of anything. Okay, I felt really out of luck. Of course, until I found some American friends at McDonald's there, and that was the most relieving feeling in the world. They're actually from California even, and transfer students, and that was very, very relieving. If you ever have that experience, it's one of the most relieving in the world. On the contrary, when I went to some cities like Paris, Tokyo, and Seoul, those people there actually know quite a bit of English. I think in many East Asian countries, you're required to take English as a mandatory course from elementary school. And it's very, very useful. The subways are written in English, among other languages, and it really is quite a crutch for those who are lost in the sea of not being able to understand another language. Another thing I want to relate to you is the fact that not only do different people express themselves in different languages, but they also think, I believe, in different languages. For example, if I may use the board here, I'm going to write the expression "I love you" in Mandarin Chinese. I love you. Now, if you look at these two different languages, which are about as far away from each other as possible, the Chinese language is more like pictograms, whereas the English language is written in an alphabet, where you pronounce the different languages, the different words, symbolically. Is that right? I feel like George Bush right now. Mispronounced syllable. But anyways, so if you read each individual word here, 我爱你, you can immediately, if you speak Chinese, you can immediately recognize it as the affectionate phrase, I love you. Except that it's processed extremely differently. We have these pictures here that are historically related to expressions of love, expressions of I, expressions of you, and whereas this is something really abstract. So perhaps if you can understand the reasoning behind the forms of the letters and the pictures, you might be able to understand the history of a people. You might be able to understand some of the cultural nuances of a different people or a different country. Finally, I cite some expert testimony, one by Richard Light in his book, Making the Most of College. 94% of Harvard alumni. These are Harvard alumni who said that they either wished or that they were proud that they could that they took a foreign language in college. So that is pretty enlightening statistic. Another one would have to be from the Scientific American magazine, which presented research that bilingual kids they're able to process things more flexibly. So with that expert testimony, scientific testimony, that is pretty enlightening. So I hope that through the facts, personal, expert testimonies I provided, you have come to understand the importance and benefit both to yourself